Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am Kyle, joined again by Mike Hall.
What's going on, everybody?
And it is the 5th of July. I hope everyone celebrated 4th of July accordingly with barbecue, beer,
Yes, sir.
and, of course, just American festivities. What a beautiful day it is. We don't have much for you guys, to be perfectly honest. Just on DC Sports, for the Redskins in particular. I know a lot of people like to register what's going on with the Redskins right now, but there's nothing to update you on. But what I can tell you is the Nationals have finally made their way to the wild card spot.
Been a long time coming.
I mean, we've talked about this for weeks.
Right.
But just the reality of the situation and how they were able to climb out of the hole that they were. And I know specifically, I remember a time in particular. We were coming home from work and we were listening to 106.7 with Grant Paulson and Danny Rouillet. And Grant was talking about the chances of the Nationals making the playoffs based on their record at that time. I think it was early May, late April. I'm not sure 100%. Maybe it was mid-May when this was going on. But I remember thinking to myself, I was thinking, man, you know, if the Nationals, if they can get some of their injured guys back, this could be the exception.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised by this. I feel like this isn't because they're a bad team. I just feel like it's because they're injured.
Right.
And that's ultimately what ended up coming into fruition.
That's literally what happened. I mean, guys are out. The big name guys are out. The big name hitters are out. A lot of minor league players stepping up, fulfilled their roles here and there. But I mean, for the most part, didn't do their job. But they weren't big league ready yet. But yeah, once guys got back healthy off the IL, got back into swinging things, no pun intended, they've had the best record since May 24th.
Yes, they have.
MLB.
And one thing I do want to talk about is on this podcast, I had said the Max Scherzer broken nose game that he had where he was lights out, didn't give up a run, they won that game. I said on this podcast, I said that's one of the performances, that's one of the games that can turn seasons around. And I'm not going to sit here and take credit or whatever have you, but I'm just sitting here telling you, like, that's one of the catalysts. That's cause and effect right there. It's ultimately, yes. Is it because of injuries and guys coming back? Yes. But it also, that Max Scherzer broken nose start, that the way he played that game kind of gave this team a jump start. You know, it kind of jolted them back to life.
Not only that, he's usually the pitcher where he'll go 7-8 innings but get no run support. That day, they were swinging the ball. I think his last 5 starts, I want to say, they've averaged about 4 or 5 runs a game in his last 5 starts, which, like I said, last year, in the beginning of the season, he would pitch lights out, 10 Ks plus, go 7-8 innings, and literally no run support. Bullpen comes in, lose the game, and catches the L.
I mean, how many losses does Max Scherzer have just on that premise alone?
What's his record right now?
It's like an unspoken truth around DC.
I don't even know if he has a winning record at this point, but I mean, hey, he's pitching lights out.
Right.
That's all.
And this has been going on for years. I mean, this is an unspoken truth in DC around the area is the bats just don't come out for Max Scherzer.
It's like he's so good that it's like, oh, well, you know, he's so good, he's not going to allow any runs, so eventually we'll get a run. And then they don't hit any runs, and then the bullpen comes in, and everyone knows the Nats have the worst bullpen in the league. So.
Yep. Well, one of the worst. I think the Mets actually surpassed them in that aspect.
Which is crazy. But.
Well, so right now the Nationals have a 45-41 record. They're four games over 500. They have completely turned a corner. So they're second now in the division, and they hold the wild card spot. All before the All-Star break.
Yep.
Just to tell you how crazy, to explain how crazy of an instance this is, they were saying they couldn't make the playoffs by the end of the season. There was like an 8 to 10% chance that they could do that back in early May. They have qualified for a playoff spot by the All-Star break, halfway through the season. So that's just how it just shows how amazing this team has come back and the kind of role that they've been on since late May.
Yeah, before this role started, I just remember we were both talking on this podcast saying, if they can get the number down to between 3 to 5 games back of the wild card or back of first place before the All-Star break, they'd be in great place or great position. Who would have thought they'd be 4 games over 500 and actually in the wild card spot before the All-Star break?
Right. It almost seems like last year when we were talking about firing Davey Martinez.
Yeah, they were talking about it this year.
Right. Well, that's what I mean. It feels like it's last year. I mean, it's almost been unspoken now. Nobody said a word about it. They made the pitching change, the pitching coach change. They made that on, May 3rd, I think it was?
Somewhere around there.
So then 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, start getting guys back. Max Scherzer broken nose happens. This team turns around. Now, do you think that the Nationals do you think that they peaked too early? Is this one of those instances where the Nationals will come back in the All-Star break and kind of drag an ass?
I feel like it's a thing that every team comes back after the All-Star break and just kind of drags ass the first couple weeks of the second half of the season. But with that being said, I know there's been a lot of mixture of poor teams they've been playing, but again,
true. They played Marlins 3 times past
good
month.
Teams are supposed to beat the
Right.
teams they're supposed to beat. So
Right.
with that being said, I know they have a stretch of games. I think it's an 8-game stretch where they play the Braves and they play the Dodgers back to back.
Yep.
That's going to be the tell-all.
That's
right
the
there.
first 2 series when they come back from the All-Star break.
That's going to be the tell-all right there. Where is it fool's gold?
Right.
Where they're playing horrible teams and doing well, or is it going to be, all right, we have something serious here. Let's build off of this.
See, that's where I think you're going to see a lot of low-run games in that stretch.
This is going to be big for Scherzer. They're going to need
Exactly. This is where their starting pitching really needs to help them out in that 8-game stretch, because you have to imagine the bullpen sucks.
Yeah.
But throughout this whole Miami series, going back to Detroit, it was very easy for the starting pitchers and for not for Mike Rizzo, but for Davey Martinez, because his starter would get to the 7th or 8th inning, and it was easy to fill that spot, and they had the run cushion. When they go against when the Braves and the Dodgers, the runs aren't going to be there.
Yep.
The starting pitching has to be able to keep the game close so they can stay in it as long as they can.
Oh, without a doubt. 100% agree. I actually think they can do that, but like you said, it's just going to come down to offensively, can they get the job done? Because defensively, as you can see, they've been playing lights out for the past, what's it been, 30-plus games?
Yeah.
So it's just going to come down to the bats. Going to get the bats going against these division foes and National League foes.
And the Nat Killer and Clayton Kershaw is going to be going against the Nats, and I think you can put that up to a 3-hit game and guarantee that.
With that being said, though, Scherzer versus Kershaw.
Hopefully it pans out that way. We don't know if the schedules are going to match up that way, because it could be Strasburg. You never know the way the injuries happen in the MLB nowadays. But look, the sun has come for the Nationals. They have done what we were begging them to do, which is win some series.
Yeah.
They were getting blown out early on, and then all of a sudden, boom, they start knocking out these series, going against lesser competition, but with their guys back.
I remember it was 13 straight series. They lost the opening game of 13 straight series, which in the long run made them not win 13 straight series. They would tie a couple of series here and there, but again, you need to win series. You can't tie or lose series. But like I said, since these last 30-plus games, everything's been turned around, and let's see if they can keep it going.
Yeah, and it's amazing because their biggest contributor on offense being Anthony Rendon, almost leading them in every statistical category except for obviously steals with Trey Turner there. The fact that he is playing injured, has an injury in his foot supposedly, and he hasn't been running 100%.
Right.
The fact that this dude, even knowing how bad the injuries were this year and where the injuries ultimately stuck them, the fact that he was able to keep it within himself, keep it to himself, and still perform at this level,
And get recognized as an all-star at that.
that should give him a contract just in itself.
I don't know what they're doing with this whole contract situation.
Right.
You would think after the Bryce not even really mishap, because it was a known thing that he wasn't coming back. But they did that to make sure that they could get Soto, Robles, and then ultimately re-sign players like Rendon. But it seems like the learners just don't want to dish out that type of money that Rendon's going to command. He's not making it even any easier for him, because he's having I'm not going to say career year, but he's having a definitely contract type year where he's producing. So I just hope they get it done, obviously.
Dude, I would say right now, just write a blank check.
Yeah.
Just write a blank check and tell Anthony Rendon to fill in the blank. Just get him here.
The bad thing is, as he's a Scott Boras client, so you already know Scott Boras is, just keep doing what you're doing. Every game you play, every hit you get, the dollar sign keeps going up and up and up, which doesn't bode well for the Nats, but bodes very well for Scott Boras and Rendon.
Now, one of the things that has been known about Scott Boras and his clients is he usually tells his superstar guys, do not sign a contract before free agency.
Yep.
Test the free agency market. You owe nothing to these teams. That's what's kind of scary here.
Yep.
Is that Anthony Rendon has Scott Boras in his ear telling him this. He might love it here in Washington.
All signs say he does. I've never heard one complaint.
I feel like he's like that guy.
Yeah.
I feel like he is that guy that literally doesn't say a word. It just goes about his business, goes to work every day. You know, maybe he probably even slices up his girlfriend when he's having sex with her. You know, she's not boating his head up. He's like, yeah, girl, you good. But he just seems like one of those, not humbled, because I hate using that word, humbled.
Yeah.
But he kind of seems like that lax, chill,
Just
cool
level-headed, yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to get too far ahead of himself, which honestly kind of showcases itself in his baseball play.
Yeah.
That guy needs a contract. He's going to be the future of this franchise. I want to see Rendon retiring a National like hopefully Ryan Zimmerman will, which is a great transition. Ryan Zimmerman had 2 hits yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
After Davey Martinez came out last week and basically was saying it's Ryan Zimmerman's spot there at first base, even though they have Matt Adams and Howie Kendrick is playing phenomenal. Both of those guys playing phenomenal. Matt Adams homered 2 nights ago.
He's been on a little hot streak. For them to take him out of the game like that just shows you the respect they have for Zim.
Yeah, and Zim definitely does command that respect. I mean, this guy literally threw out his shoulder.
Hey, like
he couldn't throw anymore, and they moved him from third to first base because he literally couldn't throw.
Grant Paulson hit it on the head. He's literally Mr. National. He's been here the longest. I want to say he's the longest tenured National so far as the roster goes right now, and he's put his heart and soul into the Nationals since he's came here. So I mean, yeah.
I want to seriously though. I want to talk about if the Nationals were to possibly move on from Davey Martinez, legitimately or not less. All right, screw that. No, not just Davey Martinez, but 10 years down the road.
Right.
I think Ryan Zimmerman should be a legitimate contender to be manager.
Yeah.
I think he should be a candidate. I think he should be interviewed because as Mr. National, what other great way to show respect to Ryan Zimmerman, one of the smartest and greatest players of this organization that they've had to offer. I think that would be a great fit.
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if the year after he retired, he was on the bench doing like hitting coach or some type of hitting coach or some type of fielding coach, just to like prepare him for that new managerial position.
Yeah, because I can even see him scouting with Mike Rizzo.
Scouting front office,
right.
So I mean,
assistant general manager possibly, just because Ryan Zimmerman is such a smart dude, and I love the way he carries himself. Yeah. His kind of personality is just like Anthony Rendon, putting on the construction worker hat and just going to work and taking care of business. Yeah. And I like Ryan Zimmerman a lot, and hopefully that can happen because I really like him.
Yeah, I mean, we need guys like that. They're just gonna put the hard head on, get the pail, and just go into work every day and keep their head low and just do what they got to do, collect that check, and produce, which. Can't ask for much more.
You're absolutely right. Now, let's transition to the NBA. Some moves happened this week. The Wizards made some moves. And I want to pick your brain because you know more about basketball than I do. Just from a fundamental, from the root of basketball. I only played in maybe one league.
Right.
What did you see other than that? Do you think the Wizards got better after this trade? After they got into... Let me explain first to everybody. The Wizards hopped into the 3-team trade with the Lakers and the Pelicans. Mm-hmm. They were able to get Mo Vaughn. Mm-hmm. They were able to get somebody else, I forget. But I think the Wizards gave up cash.
Yeah.
They got involved with that deal. Did they get better?
Because they only had like a total of 5 players signed, just like philosophically and just roster size, yes, they got better. With the amount of money that they don't have because of Ernie Grunfeld screwing us for the past 16 years, I was gonna say they got better. As far as just like when they gave Otto Porter the max money and beyond Mahimi the max money, or not the max but huge contract. Yeah. Because you got to spend 90% of your cap space money in the NBA. They actually took a reserve role this time, which Tommy Shepard, great job by him, and didn't just throw money to him. We got to spend it. Throw money to him. They put players on 1 to 2 year deals with options. I think. They brought in Isaiah Thomas, who, if he can stay healthy and his hip can be in check, I think can be not Boston Isaiah Thomas, but partially of that, which would be great for the Wizards, especially after they lost Thomas Satoransky to the Bulls.
Mm-hmm. And they lost Bobby Portis. Which hopefully the rookie come in, Nakamura. Hopefully he can come in and put up at least somewhat of the numbers that Bobby Portis did. He's a rookie, so I'm not expecting that much from him. But just like I said, overall, philosophically and just scheme-wise and fit-wise, the players they brought in, Mo Wagner, huge, great college player. The Wizards actually worked him out and loved him, but
couldn't take him in the first round or whatever pick they had like 2 years ago, last year, whatever it was.
Because it was too smart of a pick.
Yeah, too smart of a pick. He wasn't gonna go that high. He was
Right.
a second rounder talent. But they really loved like how he can shoot. A big man, shoot the ball. He's a stretch four, can play the five. Great rebounder. So I just think that all around here they got a little bit better. Hopefully they can mesh. That's all it comes down to in the NBA.
Yeah.
Is that the players can mesh.
I absolutely love the Isaiah pick.
Mm-hmm.
The Isaiah Thomas pick is huge for the Wizards because this gives a veteran that knows what to do. You don't have to teach him up.
Yep.
You give him the ball and he can go execute an offense, which is what the Wizards have needed. Now, I think that just based on the second team offense, coming off the bench, Isaiah Thomas, a fantastic point guard, but most likely he's going to be starting. The only reason I say he might be coming off the bench is because Bradley Beal in college played point guard.
Yeah.
Playing point guard in high school, he is not foreign to the idea of bringing the ball up the court and being able to dish it.
That would actually bode better for Isaiah Thomas to play off the ball. That way he don't got to like move around as much. He can just post up in the corner, let Bradley Beal drive and kick, and then open three-pointer in the corner for Isaiah. So
yeah, absolutely. Look, and I like the moves, especially given the fact that they have Tommy Shepard at the helm. They don't have a legitimate GM that everyone considers a GM.
If they don't offer him the job, it's another Wizards idiot move because clearly he did a great job this offseason. So
my whole thing is it took Tommy Shepard to come in here to actually start making some smart moves, and the whole question being is what took Ted so long? What if this so easily, if they can make these small fits happen, why the hell wasn't this going on years ago? Why did it take you so long to get rid of that idiot?
Everyone's been saying that Ted Leonsis is like one of those like really loyal guys. If you show him loyalty, he'll show it back to you. And obviously Ernie showed him a lot of loyalty.
A lot of loyalty.
To be here 16 years and just.
I'm pretty sure Ernie let Ted bang his wife.
I mean,
There had
to be some cut shit going down because like. I mean, to be mediocre at best.
Did he like save his dog in a fire or something? Like, what happened?
Saved his kid from drowning in like, a cookout one year. Like, I don't know, but I'm glad he's gone. Yeah. Tommy Shepard hopefully will be the future and get things moving in the right direction, so that the Wizards can. I think me personally, with the moves they made this offseason, with the rookies they brought in, obviously next year they're going to be a shit show. But with that being said, they're going to get a top 5 pick, hopefully, in the lottery pick. John Wall coming off the injury should be, hopefully, 80%, 85% of John Wall. Should be good enough. Bradley Beal, another year, a vet year, with max money, extension. Nakamura, I forgot how to say his name. Second year in the league, going in. If they bring back IT, him coming off the bench, backing up John Wall. And that top 5 lottery pick to go with it, I think they can have a big 3 or a big 4, right? And they can be competing in the East again in that top 4 to 5 slot and make some noise in the playoffs.
Now look, honestly, the East is obviously the lesser foe of the two conferences. It doesn't take much to get to the East Finals.
Yeah, it's more.
Especially with LeBron gone, it's very, very easy compared to years past. And look, it was very easy in years past, but you had to worry about LeBron.
I will say this though: 2 years from now, when you got Draymond going to free agency. There's a couple of other, like 2 or 3 big name dudes that are going to be free agents 2020 year. The balance of power is already, depending on what Kawhi does, the balance of power has already shifted in the West. It's a lot more spread out and even now. With KD coming back after his injury, with him and Kyrie in Brooklyn. Obviously the Bucks with Giannis. They've re-signed Middleton and Brook Lopez. They got their big 3 coming back. With
Toronto possibly going to be, which transitions to our next thing we want to talk about. Is Kawhi going to re-sign with Toronto?
Kawhi goes back to Toronto for the max deal, a couple years, stays for 4 or 5 years. The East could be looking like the more dominant conference going forward, because you got an older LeBron in the West. You're going to have obviously Anthony Davis on the Lakers. The Pelicans are a young team on the rise. Obviously Portland, he's reloaded a little bit. Houston's always going to be there in contention. Golden State with Klay coming back should be right up there again, but I just think that the West is going to be top heavy, and then the East will be a lot more spread out and even.
Yeah, and look, I understand, I get it. I
do think Kawhi is going to go to the Lakers.
The one thing I just hope for is I'm worried about. When you thought about the Wizards in 2010, you thought they could be competing for a championship by 2015. This could be, and the fucked up thing is with this whole situation is you sitting here looking. all right, if they rebuild, they could be back in contention in 3 to 4 years. The thing I'm worried about is that not happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a possibility.
The way that John Wall's contract is set up, the position the Wizards are in right now with Bradley Beal,
which is why it'll be good for them to tank for the next 2 years. 2 years. They can get some lottery picks in there.
That's literally what they need. I mean, and they need a lottery pick.
They need young players that with potential with the ceiling.
That being said, they could still get a lottery pick next year and then get the 10th pick.
Oh, without
again,
doubt.
Well, 9th pick, like they did this year.
Without a doubt. But hey, we'll see. All you can do is watch and hope and see.
So now that transitions into our next talk about the overall NBA. I don't know if Kawhi is going back to Toronto now. Apparently, there is now some discrepancy between the two parties, and the number one party that everyone's talking about all off season long is the possibility of Kawhi going to the Lakers. Now, to me, the first thing I think about is, dude, that's way too many mouths to feed. Yeah. That's way too many guys that need the ball in their hands.
Especially with a coach like Frank Vogel, who's he had success in Indiana, but like he only had Paul George, who was like not a superstar yet. He was a star on the rise. He's never coached, obviously, a LeBron type figure, an Anthony Davis type guy. If Kawhi goes there, that's a lot of superstars. Like you said, a lot of mouths to feed. So we'll see if he can get it done. Me personally, I just think he's going to be like, I just think he's there for like maybe half the year, a year at the max, and then Jason Kidd's getting moved in there to be the head coach. So, and I think he can take them to like championship level. So, it sucks. I hate LeBron.
Yeah, I just don't know if Kawhi will go to LA, to be perfectly honest. Because with Golden State, it was different. With Golden State, you have the Splash Brothers. They just receive the ball and they shoot. They don't move the ball within their hands. They don't create a shot. Right. With the Lakers, those guys need the ball in their hands. Now, Anthony Davis is different. He doesn't. That's just a rebounder, a great defender, and he can score from anywhere on the floor. Right. He's different. The difference is Kawhi and LeBron. And they're both kind of the same personality. They both aren't alphas in the way that they have to have the ball, like Russell Westbrook or Carmelo Anthony. They would like to spread the ball out. And look, that's better for everyone. It's a great mixture. I just feel like it's two of the same is not going to be good. Yeah, I feel like they're going to be stagnant. And I think the one place that they're going to lack is that last-minute shot.
Oh, not only that, they're going to have no bench either. Like, it's going to be bad. But I see what you're saying, like, as far as, like, the same type of players. They're definitely almost the same type of player, ball dominant. Always got to have the ball in their hand. But what makes LeBron a little bit different from Kawhi is Kawhi, he can make his own shot off the dribble. LeBron can get his own shot off the dribble, but he's looking to kind of dish and get everyone else involved. And I heard reports that once Kawhi and LeBron met each other, like, talked about Lakers, blah, 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 LeBron straight up told him, it'll be your team. You can be the guy. I'll defer to you. So if LeBron takes that second wing tier role in the offense and can distribute the ball as like a stretch four, like point guard type guy, there's going to be a lot of championships.
That quote right there tells me...
a lot of championships going forward.
That tells me right there it's not going to work. And I don't think they're going to win championships. In Miami, that was a different circumstance. D. Wade won a championship in Miami. It was D. Wade's team. Chris Bosh and LeBron came from other teams. Kawhi is coming from Toronto. Yeah. And LeBron being there for a year already comes in and says, this is your team. You have it. It's going to kind of throw everything awry. It's kind of an awkward situation. Yeah. Because you don't know anybody here. You just got here and it's your team, but we have possibly the best player in the NBA right now.
But you can say the same thing about when he went to Toronto. He didn't know anybody there, and then that automatically.
That's true, but they didn't have superstars like Kawhi.
That's true. And they also had Kyle Lowry, who's been there for like 8+ years, 10 years.
Right.
So he was the captain, but that's what you're saying. Talent levels.
Right. It's just kind of an awkward mental situation there that kind of might throw things out of whack. Because, like, what I mean is, in Miami, that's an easy transition. It's easy because, look, D-Wade, it's your squad. I'm not going to try to take over your team. We're going to keep this transition moving. This is a kind of totally different situation. And I just don't think that same philosophy will work here.
I just think Kawhi is going to be the Laker just because the whole Spurs situation was going down. He wanted to get traded to the Lakers. So, like, that's always been his number one team from the get-go.
Yeah. Because he said from the reports coming out were that Kawhi wanted to go to a big market city.
And he's from, like, the L.A. area. Like, it's his hometown. He grew up a Lakers fan.
Went to San Diego State.
It's been his dream to actually, like, play for the Lakers. So, all roads are leading to the Lakers. And I've said from the get-go, if he joins the Lakers, he might take, like, a little hit, like, now. Mm-hmm. But he's playing the long game. LeBron only has maybe 2+ years, maybe 3 maximum left in the league.
You think 2 or 3 years left in the league for LeBron?
I mean, LeBron said for like legit, he only has. He just wants to play until his son gets to the league.
Yeah.
He wants to play with his son or against his son, I guess. But that's like.
And he's in high school now. Sophomore?
His son is 3 years away from the league potentially.
Okay.
So, because by then, it'll be the 18 high schools can go to the league.
Yep, and so he'll go immediately to
right to the NBA. So he has 3 years maximum, maybe 4 max left. But that being said, obviously, with LeBron kind of diminishing his role to Kawhi and AD, it becomes Kawhi's team, and Kawhi can go down and potentially he'll bring. He can recruit players because Anthony Davis, Kawhi, he doesn't want to play with them. And
that's just reason enough.
In a Laker uniform, like in the LA market.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I just think that like if he goes to the Lakers, which I think he would, he can go down as the Magic Johnson, Kobe type like Laker in history, like multiple championships, carried the franchise, face of the league, like so good for him. But just me being a basketball fan, I like to see competition spread out throughout the league, and with that such a stacked team like that, like it's just like really like it's just kind of like people say about the Warriors. It's like we already knew I can't talk. We already know the inevitable. Yeah, it's like it's gonna be Warriors Cavs in the championship. If he joins the Lakers, it's like we know the inevitable. It's gonna be Lakers and between probably 76ers and the Bucks in the finals. So it's like, I don't really want to watch that. The ratings will be down. But I do want to watch this because it has potential to be dysfunctional. Yeah. So how they're going to like do the load management thing, like Anthony Davis needs to take games off. LeBron needs to take games off. Kawhi needs to take games off. So it's going to be a lot. But, I mean, hey, I can't wait, honestly.
Look, I really hope it doesn't happen. I think that Kawhi, for the best of the league, I think Kawhi needs to go back to Toronto.
See, the problem is that like, I know that he's having like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, he's soul searching with his He's soul searching because like, he will literally be behind Drake, 1A, biggest name in Toronto. Right. He can literally run the whole like.
He's more popular than the hockey players now.
He can literally run the whole country of Canada if he wanted to. I'm pretty sure.
He probably already does. Yeah. Trudeau's a douche.
They offered him like free meals wherever he wants to go, any restaurant in the city. The private jet company that gave Drake his jet is going to give Kawhi a private jet if he resigns. I think they were talking about Drake made his own pitch to him outside of the Raptors to become like a partner in OVO.
Which is his music label.
Which is even more money off the court. So, and he can sign his max deal with the most potential money in Toronto. It's just like Kawhi doesn't strike me as a guy that's like worried about the money. You know? He's worried about being comfortable and playing games and winning games.
Almost like the KD mentality is I'm worried about winning championships. Exactly. A lot of respect for Drake for that because look, if I was a huge, kind of on the obviously the scale superstar, just gladiator of Drake that he is, I would try to get players to come to DC somehow, and I would do the same thing. So a lot of credit to him, and it's smart as shit because it's not illegal.
I wish Wale or like Shaq Lee, well, not Shaq Lee. I wish like Wale, I wish like Wale did something like that. But I mean, he's not even really like in DC anyway, so
right, it doesn't matter. No. But look, hey, I hope Kawhi goes back to Toronto. I think that's better for the league to have balance, like you said, and to be able to have Kawhi come back to Toronto. That gives you the rivalry between the Bucks and the Raptors. Then you bring in the 76ers.
Not only that. It would be arguably between Kawhi, if he stays in Toronto, KD, Kyrie, Giannis. There's a fifth person I wanted to. I'll just go with those four. Between those four, that's arguably 4 of the top 7 best players in the league, just in one conference. So I mean, that right there says. We need competitive balance.
Yeah, and I think with KD being out for a year, I think that will happen. And the East is definitely looking like it's buffing up again, which is great news.
3 of the top 5 or 6 best players in the league on one team. Like, come on, man. Like,
and speaking of buffing up the East, Al Horford signed with the 76ers. And I, for one, I don't like that signing.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really much of a gel. And I wish Al Horford would just go to the goddamn West because he just loves destroying the Wizards. And he loves shoving it in the Wizards' face. The Wizards offered him a deal and said, no, I'm going to sign with your competitor, the Celtics, who just beat you in the playoffs. Then beats us and then goes, you know what, I'm going to sign with the 76ers, who have a legitimately direct link to hatred with DC. Like, screw Philly. I just don't really like the move because of Ben Simmons and him not being able to shoot the ball at all. He has to be able to be close to the rim. That's where Al Horford is. Exactly. Al Horford can shoot for the perimeter, but it's not like it's something he's comfortable doing all the time.
Not only that, he's more of like a get on the offensive defensive board type guy. Like, and then he can obviously shoot the 3-pointer, shoot a couple J's. But I don't like the move because, like you said, Ben Simmons needs to be close to the basket. With Horford being there, it's not really going to stretch the floor out. It's going to shrink the floor. Like with Embiid down low, Horford down low, and then you got Ben Simmons playing like down low on the block. Too many big men on the block. And today's NBA,
it's going smaller.
It's all about small ball, spreading the floor out. So like I don't see really what they're doing there. I know it's like a win now mentality, and they got Tobias Harris, who plays like a big man also. But I mean, hey, we'll see. In the East, they'll probably be alright because the East is kind of like watered down right now. But I just think going forward, like, nah. They just extended Ben Simmons. So.
Like, if I'm a Horford, if I'm gonna pick anywhere to play right now, maybe they didn't even offer him a contract. But if I'm at Horford, I'm looking at the Bucks. And I'm saying, dude, I want to play with Giannis. Yeah. I would go there for a fucking vet minimum. I would do what David West did with the Spurs. I said, this is an up-and-coming superstar.
I actually think that was one of the teams on his list that he wanted to go to. It's just they wanted to re-sign Middleton and Brook Lopez, so it couldn't dish out all three money of them to him. So
that's what I was saying. I would do fucking bare minimum like David West did with the Spurs. Screw it.
Yeah, if they were smart, they would have just said, sorry, Brook Lopez.
Yeah.
Shoe fly don't bother me. And re-signed Middleton and then brought in Horford. But also Horford was looking for like I think it was like $40 million guaranteed or something crazy like that, which is why he left the Celtics for like $31 million.
Right.
So,
well, good. I'm glad the 76ers
he wanted more long-term money as opposed to like short-term.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, financially stable for the rest of his life. So.
It really does. Some NFL news that came out recently this week is the Miami Dolphins defensive tackle got into an accident. Was it July 3rd? Was it July 4th early in the morning?
Probably early in the morning.
He got in a car accident in Miami, if I'm not mistaken. They had to amputate his arm.
It's crazy.
Well, if you're an NFL player, stay the hell away from Florida on July 4th. Yeah. Just go away, dude. Just don't even come near because apparently everyone's losing limbs out here.
It's crazy, man. Like,
my goodness. First it was JPP, and now this guy's losing his arm, and he will never play football ever again. And it just sucks that a guy that could have made his family, his kids, millions and millions, he could set them up for life. His career is cut short because of a car accident. Yeah. And it shows how how small and fragile life is really when you think about it. You never think that your arm would get amputated.
Yeah, I mean, glad he made it out alive, but like you said, his career is over. I guess he could still do NFL related stuff as far as coaching maybe or something like that, but never gonna be on the field again. Never gonna get that adrenaline rush of making a play on defense, sacking a quarterback. It's just horrible, terrible news, man.
Yeah, and look, pretty sure the Dolphins went with Christian Wilkins, if I'm not mistaken.
They did.
So they went with defensive line in the first round of the draft, which foreshadowing that it was a genius idea because obviously they need that goddamn help. But they have to re-sign somebody else. And another person out there that could possibly come back home is Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, did he already sign? No, he already signed.
He's still out. Did he?
I don't know. I gotta look that up. I don't know. But look, I think Ndamukong Suh would be a smart idea for them as well.
I feel like he did sign somewhere.
Yeah, so do I. But I don't know. I can't remember. I can't think off the top of my head right now. I haven't heard anything.
Oakland? No, it's not.
No, it's not Oakland. That would be smart for Oakland, though.
Yeah. Oh, you know where he went? Tampa Bay.
Oh, you're right. He did go to Tampa Bay. So never mind.
Took over McCoy's spot.
Right. And look, if I'm Gerald McCoy, I would have rather gone to Miami.
Oh, yeah.
To be perfectly honest with you.
Hell yeah. South Beach.
Shit. If you imagine getting drafted to be a pro, make millions of dollars to get drafted to Miami, San Diego. Yeah.
I mean, he's been in Tampa Bay his whole career, the nice, warm, sunny Florida weather, and he's just you know what? I'm gonna take it a couple hundred miles down south.
I just know that if I was ever gifted enough to be pro in any sport, I would have been drafted to Buffalo.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like that kind of person I am. I would have been stuck, or Minnesota, you know, somewhere just where nothing happens. It's just cold all the time and everyone hates it there.
Yeah.
Like that's where I would get drafted by. Like the first place I'd go for agency, like, nah, dude, fuck DC. I'm going to Florida.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm gonna go chill on the beach during the off season. I'm gonna hang out. I don't want to pay for my plane ticket.
I'm sure that's like 99% of every like pro athlete's like dream. Like, oh, I want to get drafted to like a warm weather place, and then they go to somewhere like Cleveland.
Yeah,
it's just like
The second thing I would do once I get drafted, I would buy a school bus, and then I would just soup that thing out so it'd be just a party bus, and just go hang out all the time with my buddies.
Yeah.
That's all I would do, man. Just have video games set up on there.
We'd be doing it smart. We'd be getting no like NFL like fines, no suspensions. Like, nope. I mean having fall guys on my team. Like, look, here's a couple $1,000. Take the fall from me.
I would pay my dad to drive the goddamn bus.
Right.
Like, please drive the bus. Don't drink anything. Make sure we're okay, all right?
Hell yeah.
He'd be like, all right, make sure you clean up the scene. Oh, man. All right, so a little NFL talk here. Tyreek Hill got into another incident. We talked about this the other day. He can't seem to get away from himself, but we talked about it. My personal stance on the situation with Tyreek Hill is apparently his buddy was getting into it.
You're talking about Kareem Hunt.
Oh, Kareem Hunt. Sorry, I'm not talking about Tyreek Hill. Kareem Hunt, who just got into it again in a bar in his hometown in Cleveland, in Toledo, Ohio. Yeah. And he's already on a short leash, obviously. He just got picked up by the Cleveland Browns. They've told him, no nonsense policy. You got to chill the hell out. Right. But this circumstance is kind of different, given that his boy got into the altercation. He was trying to help his boy out. But like I said to you the other day, if my boy is a baller, if he's in the NFL, if he's on a short leash already as it is, as soon as something happens, I'm taking my boy that's in the NFL or in the pros, and I'm taking him, we're leaving immediately. Yeah. I don't care. As soon as something bad happens, because I know that your whole career could be jeopardized by some dumb thing that happened at the bar, so I'm going to get you the hell out of there.
Yep.
Why aren't people doing this with Kareem Hunt?
I mean, you would think that would be like the smartest move possible, but apparently his friends are just as dumb as he is. Like, I don't know, man. The dude literally, like, clearly has a problem. Like, every single time, he's always out. Well, except for this time, there wasn't alcohol involved, I don't think. But,
well, he was at the bar.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably true. So,
alcohol was definitely involved.
Every incident, he looks like chill and calm. It's not like wilding out. But every incident has alcohol involved in it. You would think at this point he'd be like, you know what? If I go into the public, I'm gonna be a target. Guess what? Let's just invite 100 bitches to my house. Everyone put their cell phones in a basket. Take your tops off when you walk in. Have some fucking fun.
Yeah.
But no, you want to go out and like have fights and wild the hell out in clubs and bars. Like, no. Get your shit together, bro. You're about to lose a lot of money.
Dude, because I can tell you right now, there is a whole bunch of liquor distributors, beer distributors that would run at the chance to supply booze for an NFL player based on the marketing strategy alone. So if you came to them and said, hey, I'm going to start having a bar at my house. I'm going to be charging per head. You obviously got to get a liquor license, but money is not an issue with them there. Yep. With NFL players or any pro. Like you said, just make a club in your house.
Yeah, I mean, just get like a sponsorship.
Hire your own security. Have everyone pay per head when they walk in. Make sure no guns, no weapons. And look, I told this to Mike, if anybody wants to fight, you have to get butt-ass naked and fight in front of everybody. And let's see how tough you are there. Let's see two butt-ass naked dudes get mad and fight each other in front of a group of people. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, they're going to cheer each other and be like, my bad, man. I was touching him. I was tripping.
Yeah, I want to get naked, too. I'm trying to get laid tonight. But seriously, like that is the best, obviously. We saw in the HBO show about the NFL players.
Oh, Ballers.
In Ballers, one character in particular had a club in his house. Yeah. He had a side house, an extra house that his wife didn't know about, that they would all have parties at and hang out with his boys and do a bunch of drugs. That's what you need to have. Hire your own security and just make sure that you are staying out of trouble. I mean, it's not so hard to ask for that, and I understand. In today's world, things just happen.
Right.
You know, you can't control everything.
And look, I'm not even telling them not to go out and have fun.
Right.
But like,
just be smart about it.
Yeah, be smart. Like, jeez.
As soon as you see your boy step on that guy's shoe, get the hell out the club. Don't be near it. Don't get near that situation.
Or, just like stop chilling out and hanging out in Toledo because like clearly you can't like get out your own way out there. Jesus.
No, he just needs to get a house somewhere in Iowa. Just like buy him a house in Iowa. Just stick him in the middle of the corn.
Go hang out with OBJ, man. Jeez.
Yeah, I know.
He never having getting in trouble. Damn.
The only trouble he gets is hanging out in boats with too many guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Scratch that. Don't hang out with him.
Hey, yo, everybody, let's take off our shirts and wear jeans and boots on a boat.
And then
We'll
let's
look
take
real
a
cool.
picture. Like, yeah.
We're fishing.
Right. Fishing for men.
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. No one wants to talk about it. That's why they lost that playoff game.
Yeah.
They had a lot of weird, awkward feelings after that boat trip. It was Brokeback. It was Brokeback Atlantic.
Brokeback cruise ship.
Yeah, Brokeback boat. That's what happened. A lot of weird stuff. I don't know how to feel about it. He had sex with me too.
That was my quarterback, man.
That's my quarterback. But something I actually thought about with Kawhi Leonard is if Kawhi did win another championship with LeBron in LA, a lot of people will start talking about he's won it with 3 different teams. Mm-hmm. He should be considered one of the GOATs, right? Because not many people have done that.
I X that argument out because they're going to say the same thing with LeBron. He won it with 3 different teams. And he won it with the Lakers.
My whole point is, I almost think that Kawhi, I don't mean talent level based on. I just mean the public persona and perception of Kawhi Leonard. I see him almost as like Eli Manning. Yeah. Somebody that doesn't scream to you superstar, the best in the NFL, but takes down juggernauts and plays well in the playoffs and gets stuff done. Yeah. You know? And I kind of see him in that mindset, but he is a superstar. Right. It's just he's not considered the cream of the crop before this year.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's crazy because no one thought that Kawhi Leonard would be Kawhi Leonard he is now. Yeah. He's always been the good defensive player and like a good role player, but like no one thought he would like turn into like kind of like almost like a Kobe Bryant type mentality on offense where like can create his own shot, can obviously catch and shoot, can offensive rebound, can drive and dish, can drive and make his own like get his own open layup in the bucket. Like, so hats off to him, man. It's hard work and dedication right there.
It is. And look, a lot of respect to Kawhi Leonard, just the way he conducts himself. Yeah. The dude is a pro's pro. So that is a grown-ass man. That is Grandpa falling asleep in his chair at the barbecue. That's exactly what that is. Kawhi Leonard is an old man in a young man's body.
He's an old soul.
The Dr. J got surgery done and came back as Kawhi Leonard.
It's like, what's that movie? Get Out.
Yeah.
And they put Dr. J's body in his mind. His mind in his body.
That's so funny. That's how he came out of left field, too. Yeah, but speaking with just the NFL and the landscape of the NFL right now, how do you see this league shaping out this year? Do you see this as the kind of year, like, do you see this as the year, another injury-prone year for a lot of the superstars? Do you see quarterbacks getting out? Or is this going to be the best teams driving the ship that we already think? Because every year, a team comes out of nowhere, quarterback comes out of nowhere. Do you think it's going to go by script this year?
I actually think it's going to be what you just said at the last part. I think it's going to be a lot of teams, so like a lot of surprise teams coming out the woodworks, like the Jets, the Bills maybe, the Redskins, no homer, the Redskins.
I like that, no homer.
Yeah. The Skins, a team like the potentially the Raiders. If they can get it together on defense, offense should be looking good. If they can get it together on defense, the Raiders could potentially be up there as like a surprise team this year. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a year of the great teams like driving the ship / the year of the surprise like I said, the Skins, Raiders, Jets, like that team doing their thing.
I really think that the NFC South is going to be flipped upside down. I don't think Tampa is going to come out and just blow everyone out. Like, I think that they're going to be 3rd or 4th. Yeah. I just think that Atlanta, with all their defensive guys coming back healthy, I think they could actually make some noise, but it could easily reverse course. Right. But I think that the NFC South is the biggest wild card this year, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the Saints take a step back and possibly fall to 2nd or 3rd. I just think that Drew Brees, we saw last year the decline. Yeah. That his shoulder is losing out. He is looking like Peyton Manning. I feel like this year is going to be the Drew Brees, Peyton Manning last year. Right. I feel like this is the year that he's going to be. We know this is his last leg. And I'm not confident in the Saints defense being able to sustain enough to control the game.
See,
I think losing Mark Ingram was huge. Too.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mark Ingram losing him was gonna be huge, but I also think it's the Saints' division to lose, just for the simple fact that I think the Falcons defense, like you said, all the people coming back off injury, Falcons defense should be again like top tier defense again. It's just their offense to me is never really consistent enough.
Yeah.
Outside of the year they had with Kyle Shanahan, it's never been that consistent. Like just every single week we're putting pressure. It's always been like. We have a couple good weeks, and then we have a lull for like 3 or 4 weeks. And then we back up again. And
with the Falcons, to me, it almost seems like...
And they lost Tevin Coleman, which is huge.
For the Falcons, to me, it almost seems like they struggle to find an identity every year.
That's what I mean. Where it's like, one year it's like, we're going to be pass heavy.
Right.
And then Ryan has a huge year.
And it's like, they're missing the elephant in the room just to do it. Like, they're worried about teams honing in on Julio Jones.
Yeah.
But... Antonio Brown, OBJ, all of these wide receivers, even though everyone knew they were getting the ball, they still got open. Yeah. Julio Jones can still get open. It almost seems like that offense just struggles to find a way to get the ball going when it's staring them right in the face. It's right under their nose.
Yeah.
Just go through Julio and let everything else develop. If you win by Julio, you die by Julio. And that's how I think the Atlanta Falcons should really be focusing this year. They need to get back to Julio. Yeah. He needs to get back to his form.
Well, they brought in Dirk Cutter to be the new OC, who's already been there before with Matt Ryan, so they got familiarity, and Julio Jones familiarity. And you can see what Dirk Cutter did with Mike Evans down in Tampa Bay. So Julio could potentially be like that feature top 3 receiver again with like.
So what you're telling me is that Julio's going to go back to his means of a bunch of yards and no touchdowns like Mike Evans did 2 years ago.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Great for PPR, but touchdowns just are not there.
I mean, let's be serious, though. Julio's never been like that big touchdown red zone guy anyway for the past couple years. So.
Right. He really isn't a red zone guy. He just literally is. If he's not breaking it off for 20 or 30 yards, he's not getting that touchdown. He's just long yards, PPR monster. But look, that's what the Falcons do.
I do think Dirk Cutter brings that more back this year, though, where like Julio's going to be more involved in the red zone and more of like the midfield to red zone type guy as opposed to like the downfield deep threat guy. So we'll see. I
also could see Mohamed Sanu having a really good year for the Falcons, possibly around 700 yards receiving, maybe 5 touchdowns.
You could see Chris Godwin coming towards the end of last year, coming on towards. So.
Exactly, but just because of the simple fact, even though I think the Falcons should target Julio all the time and have the offense going through him, I think they're going to try to start going away from him. Because last year, before the start of the season, Julio deleted all of the Atlanta Falcons memorabilia stuff that was on his page. People thought that maybe he was going to be traded.
Right.
All this, and it almost seems like they're trying to get out ahead of his decline. They're trying to get out ahead of it, and I could almost see them trying to target Mohamed Sanu and Ridley, Calvin Ridley more, just to try to get the ball away from Julio, and to try to move and be able to finesse their way to get rid of him so people don't kill them so much.
Right.
I could definitely see that happening, but it's the Falcons, and every year they're a completely different fucking team.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. And like I said, I think the NFC South is the biggest toss-up this year. It could go any way.
You know what's crazy? Julio's going to be like that receiver that gets released, or gets released, he's on the decline, and then goes to the Patriots and puts up Randy Moss numbers and wins the Super Bowl.
Right.
Which I wouldn't be mad about, because if there's one player in the league I want to get a Super Bowl ring, it probably would be Julio. He deserves that.
He does.
He's been working hard for years.
I mean, his play alone in that Super Bowl was absolutely amazing. The plays that he made in the playoffs leading up to that dude balled the hell out, and it's just his team just fell short.
He was 2 quarters away.
Yeah, 2 quarters away. 28-3, brother.
2.5 quarters away.
28 to frickin' 3. Just throw it right down the goddamn tube. Just gone. All right, everyone. We're going to cut this one short because we don't have much to get yet. Well, this is bit season.
2.5 more weeks, ladies and gentlemen.
But we have good news. Mike Reed is possibly going to... Now, he's now living in Gettysburg. It's hard for him to come down to Gaithersburg, which is like an hour-and-a-half drive. Yeah. So we're going to try to get a day together where we all can meet up in the same room. We can start getting back to full force and full strength. Mike's going to start getting on to us now more and more. Again, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Burgundy Zone. I'm Kyle with Mike Hall.
Hey, good to see y'all again. Like, subscribe, and listen, hoes.
I appreciate you guys listening. Please like and share our page. Subscribe to us on iTunes and on Facebook. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. And always, Redskins football. Woo!